Hello, I'm Nolan, and I'm going to show you how to clean your oil paintings. So to clean your painting, you obviously need the painting itself. So what is important with the painting itself is don't clean a painting that's an oil painting that's less than a year old, simply because the paint may not be perfectly dry yet. And even if the painting is at least a year old and it's got really thick impasto texture painted onto the painting, then you still have to be really careful, because oil paint forms a skin, and then the paint inside, if you've got really thick paint, takes ages and ages to dry because of that skin. The air can't get in to air dry it. So it could take, in a really thick painting, it could take hundreds of years to dry, simply because the air can't get in there to dry it. So if you find yourself having to clean a painting like that, you have to be really extra careful with the areas that have got that thick paint on it. So you'd rather go with a super soft brush on those areas to make sure that you don't damage the painting. Right, the brushes that I use to clean my oil paintings is just a standard bristle brush. So this one here is a number 10, so it's a decent size. As you can see, it's probably about an inch, maybe a little less. Then I do have just standard hardware brushes. Now you can see it's the bristles aren't hard, they're soft. They're really just soft bristle brushes. This is just plastic bristles, or whatever they're made of. It's not real hair or anything. And if you've got a really big painting, then, or a large area that you want to do, then a 2-inch size brush, what's that, about a 50 millimeter. If you're working in if you're not working in Imperial, then that would work. In here I've just got plain H2O, standard tap water. Just got it in a spray bottle. You could just as well have a tub of water as well. The cleanser itself that I'm going to use, the soap you can say, is I'll just use the standard cream cleanser. A popular brand name for that is Handy Andy, but you may not have that brand in your country. So let's see if I can just squeeze a little bit out so you can see what it looks like. See, it's that normal white. It's like a cream, which works great if you've been working in the garage, for example, and now you're looking for something that you can clean your hands with. I'll just get rid of that. The other thing that you can use is standard soap, dishwashing liquid. So I've got the Palmolive Sunlight liquid. Any of those standard dishwashing liquids also work well. What you do have to just be careful with these guys is if your canvas itself has got lots of white, the white of the canvas shining through, so lots of white space and so on, then I don't recommend you using this, because I have found in those white spaces, if your oil painting hasn't been covered completely with paint and they've left lots of raw canvas exposed, then that raw canvas is acrylic. It's an acrylic gesso that has been painted with, and it may not be perfectly coated. So some of this, because it's got coloring, tends to soak into that raw canvas, and then you've got this red or a green coloring, or whatever color your dishwashing liquid is. So then you'd rather go for the cream, because it's white or colorless. You're okay. Then the last thing you need is lots of towels, old towels, but clean towels, that you can use to dry up the water. Alright, so let's zoom in on the canvas and I'll show you how to do the cleaning itself. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a soft brush and just wipe off any loose bits of dust and cobwebs and so on. And that's why it's important to have these brushes, so that they aren't too hard, because you don't want them to be able to damage your painting itself. Now why we do this initial wipe is just to get rid of that loose dust, so that at the end of the day you're not making mud when you're adding the water onto the painting itself. So I'm wiping the sides too, and I can already see there's lots and lots of dust that's coming off. This painting is actually comes out the garage, so it's well dusty. I try to find a painting that's as dirty as I possibly can get it. So you can clean the back of the painting as well. You know, if you've got cobwebs and so on. Now you don't really want to bother about washing the back, because you'll find that, especially if it's a gallery canvas like this, where the material itself is exposed, this back hasn't been sealed, so you can't wash that. Never wash the back of the painting with any kind of liquids or anything like that. But even if it is on a panel, I don't recommend washing the back. Only wash the front of the oil painting, because the oil painting, the oil and the water don't mix, so you've got a sort of a barrier that you're creating. Next, lie a towel on the work area, and then put your painting down on that, so that when we do work with the water, any excess water that does run off the painting runs and soaks into the towel and not into the back of your painting. And then you could spray the whole painting with water. So you want to give it a reasonable coat, but it mustn't be soaking wet. Let's see if I can get so you can see the drops or not. I'm not too sure if you can see that. Yeah, I think that's about the best. You can see the water is running, but it's not sopping wet. You know, there isn't heaps of water just running off it. It's just a nice, reasonable coating. Okay, now what you're going to do is, again, just take your clean, make sure that your brush is really clean. And I'm just going to give it a gentle little wipe. Now, if you are scared that you do lift off any of the paint, then what I suggest you do is first just test. Just dip your brush into a little bit of water and just test on an inconspicuous corner. So the best corner to test is actually at the bottom, because nobody really sees the bottom of the painting. And just give it a light wipe like that. The same as what you were going to do on the top of the painting, and see, are you causing any damage in that little corner over there? And if it's not, then you should be okay to go. Now, when I'm cleaning like this, I will work methodically. In other words, I want to make sure that I get everywhere and don't miss any spots. So I'm going to work methodically from there, gradually down this way. So this initial cleaning is just I'm just rubbing this water over the canvas. Now, more often than not, this is enough. By the time you get to the bottom here, because the brush itself is picking up dust and things, you'll find that the water over there starts actually showing you that it's dirty. Okay, once you've gone in the one direction, then go in the next direction. Now, can you see that I'm just using the tips? I'm not pressing hard like this. I'm just using the tip of the brush. I want to apply as little pressure onto the canvas as what I possibly can. Now why we're working methodically like this, from gradually from the one side to the next, is so that you can overlap these strokes to ensure that you're not missing a spot. Because if you miss a spot, then you'd have a clean line and then a dirty line, and then a clean line and then a dirty line. And that doesn't look good, does it? It won't look good. Okay, so once you've done that, take a towel, gently lie it over the canvas, and just from the inside outwards, gently rub over the towel like this. Don't scrub on the painting. You dare not do that. Very gentle. Absolutely just enough. It's almost as though I'm just smoothing out the towel. And then on the sides as well, if it's a gallery canvas, over the sides there like that. Okay, and now lift up the towel like that. Also again, don't pull it. You don't want to apply any rubbing onto the painting itself. Now 9 times out of 10 that's going to be enough. You'll be happy and you'll see all those little dirty marks that were bothering you are now gone. But if they're not, then we're going to have to go over to a little bit more intense cleaning. So we'll spray it again with the spray bottle. Give it a little coating of water there. So again, you do want to see drops lying on top of the canvas, but it mustn't be soaking wet so much that the water would run off the canvas. Alright, so now I'm going to use just a little bit of this cream cleaner. Just that little bit, just a few drops, more than enough. Okay, take your brush. First just pick up a little bit of moisture. Pick up a little bit in this, and I'll just put a little bit here and there. So you can see we're using as little cleaner as possible. Because now what this cleaner does, obviously, his job is to cut through all the grease and stuff. So if you are going to have little areas that have got a greasy mark on it, because it does happen, then this guy is going to do the cleaning for you. Okay, so here, because the canvas has got a bit of a weave, I'm using crisscrosses, not straight lines like I was before. Because now I need to literally wash it. The other one was just a rinse. So by using crisscrosses like this, I'm getting into that weave of the canvas. Now if you do have thick paint, then you're going to come back in with avoid those thick areas, and with a very soft bristled brush, soft head brush. Let me get one quickly. Okay, so we've got a soft head brush like this, you just come back in. So let's say for example that there was really thick paint. You're just going to gently come in and all around the texture. So let's say that was raised. All around the texture, you just gently press it like that. Now if you see that this cream cleaner or the dishwashing liquid that you're using is not really, you're sort of plastering it on, in other words there's not enough moisture, then just don't be shy to give your painting an extra little bit of water, but always try and use as little water as you can get away with. Again, work nice and methodically so that you can make sure that you're not missing little areas, because you don't want to clean your paintings every second day. That's not good for them. If you're cleaning your paintings once a year, every 2-3 years, that's just fine. Especially you'll find with the gallery canvases, here this top part always ends up being full of dust, because the dust obviously collects on this top little surface here. So now when you do this top top section. Try not to get the bottom or the back of the canvas wet. So you'll see I'm working from the front to the back, like that. Not from the back forward, because I don't want to wet anything at the back there. Or get it as little moisture on the back of the canvas as possible. Alright, so once you've given this guy his cleaning like this, now we need to basically wash all this soap off. So let's give him another coat of water. Take a towel. From the outside, inside, outwards. And lift up the towel. Alright, so once you've done, then just leave this guy to dry. And then once he's dry, just take a clean dry cloth again, or clean dry brush I should say, and just give him a light little wipe, just to get rid of any other little loose bits that have now come off, but because there was still moisture on the canvas, they remained on the canvas. Very light little brush like that, and that's it. You are good to go. If your painting is framed, you can clean him inside the frame, but it's better if you can remove him from the frame, then it is better, because then you can clean the frame and the painting separately.